Okay, so we have completed this chapter of respiration and gas exchange, which was planned for grade 8. Okay, we did till the gaseous exchange. And so the breathing movements is planned for grade 9. So inshallah, in the next biology class, we will start the breathing movements. But before we move on to the breathing movement part, I wanted you guys to do the questions. Okay, the end of chapter questions, as well as a few past papers. And I am using the past papers that were from physics and math, something. I can send you the link in the group. It's a website, and it has IGCSE questions as well as answers. It has answer keys as well. So I got these questions from there. Okay, I have assigned questions to students, and students will inshallah solve them and explain, and we will discuss, and they will explain us one by one. Okay, so let's start with the end of chapter questions in your book, page 151. And Ruman Ahmed will be solving question number 1 and 2 with us. Okay. I am unmuting Ruman Ahmed. Okay. Yes. Ruman, you are unmuted. Let's do question 1. This question. Hello, are you with me, Ruman?
Yes, miss.
Yes. Do you want to share your screen, or is it okay if I show the question?
You can show the question. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. So which of these descriptions applies to aerobic respiration, and which to anaerobic respiration, and which to both? Part A, lactic acid or alcohol made?
Anaerobic respiration.
Okay, a little explanation, please, a little recap.
Alcohol is made in yeasts and plants, and lactic acid is made in animals during anaerobic respiration.
Right. Okay, I will add this. Remember this, we all discussed this. This is the equation for the anaerobic respiration, and this is plants as well as prokaryotes such as fungi and yeast. And Momina, because of your question that you asked yesterday, I was thinking that we should do differences between eukaryotes and prokaryotes. That would be, a good idea, because many students are confused. You come across these terms and you don't know exactly what they mean. So we will talk a little bit in detail about eukaryotes and prokaryotes, inshallah, in the next biology class. So fungi and yeast are examples of prokaryotes. So in prokaryotes as well as plants, we have this anaerobic respiration, in which a mole of glucose gives 2 moles of ethanol and 2 moles of carbon dioxide along with energy, but this energy is less compared to aerobic respiration. Whereas in humans, and I think in animals, this is the anaerobic respiration equation. This is the word equation. Glucose, 1 mole of glucose is giving 2 moles of lactic acid. Okay, 2 moles of lactic acid. Let me write 2 here. Okay, and this energy is of course less. Okay, so in humans or in animals, we have lactic acid only. We do not have any carbon dioxide, we do not have any water. Whereas in plants, we have carbon dioxide and ethanol, we don't have water. So this is something you need to memorize. Okay, Ruman, part B, energy released from glucose. Zoom in.
Both aerobic and anaerobic.
Yeah, because energy is released in both. In aerobic, it's greater as compared to anaerobic. Okay, part C, carbon dioxide made.
Aerobic, carbon dioxide is made. In anaerobic, it's only made in yeasts and plants, but not animals.
Yes, very good. So carbon dioxide is released in aerobic as well as anaerobic respiration, except for in humans or animals. Okay, heat released.
Yes, both.
Right.
The energy released is heat.
Right, heat and energy is the same thing. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. Explain the meaning of the term gas exchange surface in human lungs.
The walls of the alveoli and the blood capillaries are the gas exchange surfaces where
Mm,
the respiratory gases are exchanged between the blood and the air.
yes, okay. Yeah, you're correct. And I would also like, if the student also mentions that what do we mean actually by this? So you can add, that the surface through which the gases enter and leave, or through which the gases pass when they are entering and leaving, because that's what we mean by exchange, right? And a surface through
Yes,
which that happens. Okay. Okay, part C, explain how each feature, oh, sorry, part B, list 3 features of gas exchange surfaces.
they have moist and thin walls. They are 1 cell thick.
Okay, good.
They have a large
So,
surface area
okay, good. Yes.
and an excellent transport system.
Okay. Now, part C, explain how each feature in your list helps gas exchange to happen efficiently.
They are very thin, allowing the respiratory gases to diffuse easily.
Okay, so the feature of being thin helps in rapid diffusion because less distance to travel by the molecules, right?
Yes.
Okay,
They have a large surface area to volume ratio, so gas exchange occurs more quickly. Huge amounts of air.
right. Okay. And then third,
They have an excellent transport system due to the network of blood capillaries surrounding the alveoli. So, more
uh,
oxygen.
okay, did you say excellent transport system?
Yes.
Okay, I would replace it with, um, uh, extensive capillary network or extensive blood supply, okay, and plenty of blood supply, and also extensive network of alveoli, which increases the surface area, okay? Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So excellent supply of blood, okay, not transport, but excellent supply of blood. Okay, so how does that help? That excellent supply of blood, how does that help? No? Okay, it's okay. Okay, you can mute yourself. Thank you, Jazakallah khairan, Ruman. Okay, so a better way of, not a better way, but I'll tell you a way of thinking through this question. Remember when they ask you to list features of gas exchange surfaces, now what's so think about the process. What's the process going on across the surface? The process is diffusion, right? And then think about the factors which affect the rate of diffusion. What are the factors? Remember the factors. We made a list, and the 3 factors, can you take that page out where we had the factors affecting diffusion? So the 3 factors that were the most important were the distance that the molecules have to travel, concentration gradient, and surface area, right? These were the 3 factors. So if you know these 3 factors, it's very easy to enlist the features, and it's very easy to explain how those features help us. So distance a substance has to pass through. So for this factor, for the distance to be least, the layer has to be only single cell thick. The layer has to be single cell thick. So that's how the thin layer helps in increasing the rate of diffusion. Now, surface area is increased by an extensive network of capillaries. Extensive network of capillaries, because think of the exchange. Now, the exchange is not only taking place through the alveolar wall, but is also, the gases are also entering into the red blood cell, right? Into the capillaries. So the surface area of the capillaries should also be large, right? So extensive capillary network and lots of microscopic alveoli. So extensive network of alveoli as well as extensive network of capillaries make sure that we have good surface area. Now let's talk about the concentration gradient. Concentration gradient, what do you understand by this? Greater the concentration difference, greater the rate of diffusion, right? Now, keep this diagram in mind. So this is the alveolus and this is the capillary. Remember in the last class we discussed this. So the diffusion is of oxygen is from the alveolar space into the red blood cell, and the carbon dioxide is the other way, right? So we want the concentration gradient for oxygen to be this way, and the concentration gradient for carbon dioxide should promote its movement that way. Now for this to happen, we need what? High concentration of oxygen here. Let's talk about one gas at a time. So let's talk about oxygen. So we want high concentration of oxygen here and low concentration of oxygen here, right? Only then the diffusion will take place. If the concentration of oxygen is already high here, there would be no diffusion because the concentration of both the areas are the same, right? Now, in order to create this concentration gradient so that there is diffusion this way of oxygen, we have to make sure that the concentration of oxygen here is low. So the oxygen keeps diffusing. How is that possible? How is that possible? That is possible by constant removal of blood. As soon as the oxygen enters, it moves away and new, not new, but the deoxygenated blood replaces it or takes its place. So there is constant low concentration of oxygen in the capillary, okay? Why? Due to constant removal of oxygenated blood. I hope you are understanding what I'm saying. Now, what makes sure that the oxygen concentration in the alveolar space is always high? By constant breathing, inhaling, by repeated inhaling. By repeated inhaling, we are introducing fresh air. And so maintaining constant high concentration for oxygen. So high oxygen, low oxygen, high oxygen, low oxygen, and vice versa for carbon dioxide, vice versa for carbon dioxide. So how is this concentration gradient maintained? By constant blood supply and constant breathing movements. Constant blood supply or blood, flow, you can say constant blood flow and constant breathing movements. That what makes sure that the concentration gradient is always maintained. Okay. Question number 4, okay? Describe in detail the pathway of an oxygen molecule as it moves from the air outside your body into your body and to a cell in a muscle in your arm. You could write your answer in words or use a flow diagram or perhaps a mixture of both. You will need to think about what you have learned about the human transport system as well as what you have learned in this chapter. So I have assigned this question to Sundus. Sundus will be discussing this question with us. Okay, so we are going to talk about the journey of oxygen molecule all the way from the outside air till a cell in the muscle. So, okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Okay, so the oxygen in the air is sucked in by the nose, and so the oxygen goes through the nose into the pharynx and then to the larynx, and then it goes into the trachea and then to the bronchus and bronchioles, and then finally to the alveoli. In the alveoli, it gets dissolved in the thin layer of film of moisture, and then it passes through the single cell wall of the alveolus and then the single cell wall of the capillary. And then it gets attached to the hemoglobin in one of the red blood cells. Then the red blood cells, due to the pumping of the heart, the red blood cells move into the pulmonary vein, and then into the left atrium, then to the left ventricle, and through the aorta, then to the subclavian artery, then arterioles, capillary, diffuses through the tissue fluid and across the cell membrane of the muscle cell, where it can be used for making energy by respiration.
Right. Good job. Sundus, you've done a great job. Okay, Jazakallah khairan. Let me recap. Okay, let me add my explanation to it. So, so this is fine till the alveoli. I think all of you understood. Nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea. We did all these structures in our last class. For those of you who did not attend, can watch the video. Okay, so then trachea, and then bronchi, bronchioles into the alveoli, and then within the alveolus, first dissolve in this thin film of moisture, and then through the alveolar epithelial cells, and then the endothelial cells lining the capillary into the red blood cell. Combined with the protein hemoglobin within the red blood cell. Okay, and then the hemoglobin takes the oxygen molecule all the way to the pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein, remember? The vessels that bring the blood towards the heart are called veins, right? And this is coming from the lungs, so pulmonary vein. And then it will be taking the blood into which chamber? It's oxygenated blood, right? So think like that the oxygenated blood is being pumped to the whole body through the aorta, and aorta is coming out from the left ventricle. So for the blood to enter into the left ventricle, the oxygenated blood must be entering into the left atrium. That's how I think. And so from left atrium to left ventricle into the aorta, subclavian artery is the name of the artery that supplies the arms. Okay, no need to get terrified by this name. Subclavian artery is the artery that supplies blood to the arm. And then artery branches into smaller arterioles. They further branch into, microscopic capillaries, single cell capillaries, and then tissue fluid. Now, what is tissue fluid? Who will remind me? Who will remind all of us what tissue fluid is? And then the oxygen will know, that's not lymph. Lymph is different. Lymph is tissue fluid that has entered into the lymphatic vessels. So before entering into the lymphatic vessels, the fluid is called tissue fluid. That fluid that comes out of the capillaries, the pores in the capillaries, remember? Right. Good job, Ajwa. Who's this? Amna. Okay. Yeah. So extracellular fluid, which bathes the cells of most tissues arriving via blood capillaries. Good job, Tayyaba. Yes, that's right. So oxygen moves out of the capillaries and, dissolves in the tissue fluid, and then it diffuses into the muscle cells. And let me also recap, if for those of you who do not remember what tissue fluid is, just a real quick recap. This diagram on page 122 of your book. Okay, so you can see that the plasma that oozes out through these pores in the capillaries, once they come out, the fluid is called tissue fluid, okay? And that is the fluid in which these cells are actually in. They're bathed in this fluid, meaning that they reside in this fluid, right? And then oxygen diffuses in. Now, my question, why is it important for the gases to dissolve in a film of moisture before they can, pass through, or before they can diffuse through the alveolar epithelial cells? Why is it important for oxygen to dissolve in this film of moisture before they can enter into the alveolar epithelial cells? Who wants to answer this question? To warm the air? Beta, air has been warmed ever since it passed through the nose. The nose did that job. The nose did the job of warming the air. Okay? So the air has been warmed a long time ago. So I am talking about alveoli. Why is it important for the gases, for oxygen to dissolve in this film of moisture before entering into the alveolar epithelial cells? Yeah. Huh? Nope. Okay, so it doesn't dry everything else. No, Aisha, because it can't pass through without the liquid form. Yeah, Humaira, why? So it can diffuse. Okay, Atika wants to answer. I'm unmuting Atika. Good job, Atika. Yes, Atika?
Yes, ma'am. The
Yes.
answer that I have to tell is that a moist surface is necessary for oxygen to be absorbed and carbon dioxide to be given off.
Okay, why? That, okay. Yes, Atika? I answered this question in my last class. I did. I remember. Koi baat nahi, chalo. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Let me check the chat window. Did anybody answer? So they can read, might escape while passing through. Because large substances can't go through, so it doesn't react with. You're making real good, sensible guesses, and they might be partially correct. But the thing is, substances, like, see, this is a cell, right? And this is a solution. Okay, you cannot have a gas enter, into the cell directly. It should be in the solution form. Okay, it should be in the aqueous form. Okay, for it to be in, for it to be allowed to diffuse into this cell, which already contains cytoplasm, right? Because this is a cell, cytoplasm. So you don't want gases to enter into the cytoplasm, into the cell. You want the oxygen to first dissolve, and in the solution form only oxygen will enter into the cytoplasm of the alveolar epithelial cells, and then into the capillary endothelial cells, right? And also, yeah, and I think, yeah. So yeah, that's the reason. Okay. It moves the extra particles. Okay, so this question is done. Okay, let's move on. Okay, another thing I want to discuss in this question is that this movement, okay, entry through the nose and the passage down all of this, the bronchi and trachea and all, do you think this is diffusion? Do you think this movement of air all the way from the nose till the alveoli, is that diffusion? Is that movement diffusion? If yes, why? And if no, why? Okay, Momina Binte Noman, you said no. Can I ask you why? Yeah, no. Aisha said no. Wania Mohsen said no. No, you have to convince me. Why is this not diffusion? No, as in diffusion, different gases mixing together. Not necessarily, Turan. Okay, I'll tell you. See, if you look at the definition of diffusion, it is the spontaneous movement of the particles. It is a spontaneous. What does a spontaneous mean? Meaning without the influence of any external force, on their own, just only due to the concentration gradient. Just because of the concentration difference, the movement of the particles, which is only due to the concentration difference. That movement is called diffusion. If you have any force causing movement, that movement is not diffusion. So here in this case, you have the intercostal muscles contracting, you have, the suction, force sucking the air in. So this is not diffusion. You have forces causing this movement of air. So this is not diffusion. Diffusion is only across this surface. Diffusion is only across the surfaces here. And the second side of diffusion is when the gases are entering into the cells through the tissue fluid. Okay, when the gases are getting out of the red blood cells through, again, the endothelial capillary cells and into the tissue fluid and then into the cells. These are the two sides of diffusion. What about the movement through the blood? What is that? That again is just simple fluid movement because of the pumping of the heart, and hemoglobin is the molecule that is carrying it within the red blood cell. So that is that. Okay, so let's move on. So we are done with the end of chapter questions, which were related to the topics that we had covered so far. Okay, these questions I got from the CD, from the DVD or CD, which is with your book. Let's do question number 4 and 5. What is the gas exchange surface in a human? Part A, the surface of a red blood cell, the surface of the alveoli in the lungs, the surface of the left ventricle of the heart, and the surface of the trachea and bronchi. So what is the gas exchange surface in a human? Meaning a surface through which gases pass. Gases pass. Gas exchange through which the gases enter and leave the body. B. Yes. B is the correct answer. Yes. Why are the others wrong? Huda Chishti, why did you say D? Okay. Let's discuss the wrong options. Why are they wrong? The surface of a red blood cell. Now, the surface of a red blood cell, there is gas exchange going on. Yes, that's true. But that is not the site where the gases are entering or leaving the body. Okay. Okay. Momina bin. Okay. Let me. Okay. You want to answer. Okay. I'm unmuting you. Yes. You want to explain?
Yes, the answer is part B. It's not A because the oxygen is basically entering through the surface of alveoli in the lungs. It is not leaving or something is happening there. It's not the left ventricle of the heart because the heart just pumps the blood. It does not support gaseous exchange. It is not
Right.
the surface of trachea and bronchi because the only job is to link the nose or mouth to
Very
the
good.
lungs.
Yes, these are only the passages for the air. I mean, there's no gas exchange going on here. Very good, Momina. Good job. I like it. Yes, and the surface of red blood cell gases are getting exchanged, but that is not the site where the gases are entering into the body. The place where the gases are entering into the body is this alveoli. Okay, 5. Which process in the human body does not require energy input from respiration? Does not require. Saad, good job, Saad. Your answer is correct. That's diffusion. Okay. So how do we decide on the answer? How do we decide on the answer? So what are they asking? The question is asking does not require energy, meaning which is passive. Does not require energy. Remember, requiring energy means active. Not requiring energy, passive. So passive and active are opposite to each other. Passive means not requiring energy. Active means requiring energy. So diffusion we know is passive. Is everybody clear on that? Everybody is convinced about that? Can I have a pencil? Okay. So diffusion is passive. Okay, what about maintenance of a constant body temperature? Is that passive? Maintenance of a constant body temperature. For this, we need heat. For this, we need heat. That is a lot of energy and that is released from respiration. So this is active. What about muscle contraction? Highly active. That's why to move, you need energy. Okay, to exercise, you need energy. Passage of nerve impulses. Highly, highly, highly active. Do you know which process is the most active? Meaning which process in the human body requires the most energy? Do you know? It is the transmission of nerve impulses. Transmission of nerve impulses is the most energy demanding process in the human body. Okay, what do goblet cells do? Absorb carbon dioxide, make antibodies, produce cilia, secrete mucus. Goblet cells, very good. Yes, you guys are well prepared. Everybody is answering correctly. Yes, everybody said D. Okay, question number 10. Why do you continue to breathe faster after finishing a strenuous exercise? Why do you, even after the exercise, even after, you know, like you have sat down after the exercise, but still you're panting? A, to deliver extra glucose to the muscles, to keep the heart beating strongly, to supply oxygen, to break down lactic acid, to supply tired muscles with extra energy. Can I see the chat window? Okay. Arham said D, to supply tired muscles with extra energy. Nuh-uh. King Khizr said to deliver extra glucose to the muscles. Okay, Faizan Ahmad, do you want me to unmute you? Okay, let me unmute you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Faizan.
C.
Yes. Okay, can you explain a little bit?
Because like when we are doing very like fast, so much exercise, it's
Right.
the different type of respiration is being done. So the product is lactic acid, and to break
Yeah,
down
that
lactic acid, we need to more oxygen.
right. Why is it important to break down lactic acid?
Lactic acid is not needed in the body.
Okay, and if it is allowed to stay in the body, then
I don't know.
okay, that's fine. We have not done that part, by the way, but just a little discussion, because you see acid. Can you see acid? So this is acidic, and so it will lower the pH of the blood, which is, you know, not good. And so lactic acid needs to be eliminated. Okay, you know, when you are climbing upstairs, you can, you know, if you have to climb a lot of stairs all together continuously, I mean, if you have to climb stairs in continuity, a time comes when your muscles are fatigued, like you cannot go anymore. You need to rest a little, you know, like, let me rest a little and then I will continue. You know why is that? That feeling that you cannot go anymore is because of the accumulation of lactic acid. So you rest a little so that this can be broken down a little, and so then you continue. Okay, so fatigue, that sensation of fatigue is due to this lactic acid. Okay, so end of chapter questions are done. The CD DVD questions are done, and so now I will ask Huda Faisal. Huda Faisal, are you with us? Is Huda Faisal here? If she is not here, then Huda Faisal is not here with us. Okay, then I'll do that question, and then we'll move on. And then I will ask Nawal Ahmed. Yes, I am. Oh, Huda Chishti, is that you? Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm unmuting you. Yes, Huda.
Assalamualaikum, teacher.
Okay, walaikum salam. You are Huda Faisal, right?
Yes.
Okay, you had to do you have the questions with you?
Yeah.
Okay, I can show them the question. Do you want to show the question?
No.
I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Gas exchange. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this question. The gas exchange. Yeah. Okay. You wanna read the question?
The gas exchange system contains cartilage. Describe the function of cartilage in the gas exchange system. Rings of cartilage in the walls of the trachea helps it to open as air is drawn in. The bronchi splits into smaller branches and then into smaller tubes called bronchioles.
Very good.
Some of the, I can't see it clearly, the question.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, I enlarged it a little.
Soon after starting physical activity, the concentration of carbon dioxide.
Okay. Excuse me. I will talk about a little more detail about the function of cartilage in the gas exchange system before you can move on. Now, so the function of cartilage is to keep the trachea especially open all the time. Okay, to keep the trachea open all the time. Trachea never closes. Okay, to keep that. Why is it important for that tube to, I mean, for trachea to stay open all the time? Like esophagus opens only when we are swallowing. Otherwise, the esophagus is closed. Okay, esophagus is a muscular tube, and it only opens when we are eating or when we are swallowing. Whereas trachea is open all the time because we are breathing all the time. The gases have to enter and leave, whether we are sleeping, staying up, or whatever. Okay, so the function of cartilage is to keep the tubes open. That's the thing. Okay, part C. Okay, you can continue now.
Name the process inside cells that produces carbon dioxide. Aerobic respiration.
Very good. Yeah, just say Yeah, okay. Yeah, aerobic, because anaerobic does not. Yeah, okay, good job. Okay, for part 2.
State the effect on breathing of an increase in carbon dioxide concentration in blood. This could lower the pH. Breathing speeds up at which CO2 is removed from the blood.
Very good. By the way, this part we have not discussed in detail. This is the part that we'll do in grade 9, but it's okay. We will discuss this a little here. When the concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood plasma increases, remember carbon dioxide reacts with water to form the carbonic acid, and that carbonic acid decreases the pH of the blood, and this reduced pH is detected by the brain, the receptors in the brain, which then sends impulses to the respiratory system to increase the breathing rate. And so that increases the breathing rate. Okay. So, okay. So this question is done. Good job, Huda Faisal. Jazakallah khairan. Okay, this question. Okay. Now, Nawal Ahmed. Okay, Nawal Ahmed, please bear with me. I want to show this trachea to you guys. I found this real nice thing I thought of sharing with you. Am I sharing my screen? Okay. This is a 3D model of the respiratory system. Okay, I want to show you the trachea and how the cartilage rings are arranged in the form of a pile, one after the other. Okay, can you see? These are the tracheal rings, which are arranged on top of the other in the form of pile. Okay, and I'll show you the different views. That's how they are arranged. This is the look. And this will be, if you look straight down, vertically straight down through them. So can you see the cartilage ring is not complete? It is missing at the back, okay? It is missing at the back, and that was for, what was the purpose? Why is the cartilage ring not complete, Sundus? Can you?
So that to allow for the bolus that we swallow to give it space.
Yeah, to allow for the expansion of esophagus during swallowing, okay? Because esophagus is right behind trachea. Esophagus is right behind trachea. So if the cartilaginous rings were complete, the esophagus would not have the space to expand to allow for that bolus to pass through esophagus, right? So I found this really cool. So I thought of sharing with you. Okay, you can decrease the layers, and you can increase the layers, and you can see, and you can even see the relationship of lungs and the ribs and the cage. These are the lungs, you can see, and then the heart. Okay, this is a nice, okay, so that's that. Okay, now Nawal Ahmed. Okay, let me unmute Nawal Ahmed. Yes.
Yes, Miss, I'm here.
Yes, so you want me to share the question?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Okay, your question was that. Yes, this was your question. Question number 2.
Yes, Miss.
Yes.
So name structure K. I wrote bronchus or bronchioles.
Very good.
And now ciliated cells and goblet cells line structure L. Explain the function of these cells in structure L. So first of all, structure L is called the trachea. The ciliated cells are located across the apical surface and facilitate the movement of mucus across the airway tract. The goblet cells produce and secrete mucus to trap pathogens and debris within the airway tract.
Very good. Yeah, and so they, yes.
Gas exchange occurs at the alveoli. Describe how oxygen molecules move from the alveoli into the blood. Oxygen molecules move from the alveoli into the blood by diffusion. Oxygen in the alveoli passes from the lungs into the blood, red vessels, while carbon dioxide leaves the blood and enters the lungs for exhalation. Immediately upon entering the blood, the oxygen molecules move into the red blood cells.
Okay. Okay, Jazakallah khairan. Nawal, you did an excellent job. Okay, now, so this is how the goblet and the ciliated cells protect the alveoli from the dust particles and pathogens from entering. Okay, I want you to write this final conclusion sentence at the end of your answer. And then for B part 1, just describe the movement of oxygen from the alveoli into the blood. That's it, because that's what the question is asking. Okay, you don't have to talk about carbon dioxide because that's not what the question is asking. Describe how oxygen molecules move from the alveoli into the blood. So stick to the question and read the question at least 3 times before you answer it. Even if you think you know the answer, double check, because most of the times you know the thing, but the reason why we lose marks is because we did not read the question properly. Okay, so oxygen molecules move from the alveolar space, they dissolve into the film of moisture, and then they diffuse into the alveolar epithelial cells, and then they further diffuse through the endothelial capillary cell and eventually into the red blood cell where it attaches to the hemoglobin, the protein hemoglobin. So that would do. Okay, Jazakallah khairan, Nawal. Now, Turan Durani. Turan Durani. Okay. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, you can correct me.
Yes.
Okay. So I gave you, okay, functions of 2 cells. Is this the question? Was this the question that I gave you?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Okay, let's get started. Okay, we are waiting.
I can't see the question properly. Thank you.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes. I wasn't in the last class of biology, so I don't really remember, but I just went through the book a bit today.
Okay, so you have not done this chapter even, I mean, which school are you from? Are you from Pisces?
Manarat.
Oh, so have you done this in your school?
We didn't do this in detail. We just read about the cilia.
Okay, it's fine. You can watch my last video on my channel, and then you can read the book, and inshallah you'll figure it out. And right now I will help you, so don't worry.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
No. Okay. So figure 3.2 shows part of the epithelium that lines the trachea. Right. So what's an epithelium?
Epithelia is it's in the throat. It's lining.
Right.
Has cilia, tiny hair-like cells that catch the mucus and dust and sends it up to the throat so it doesn't clog up the lungs.
Right. So epithelium, by the way, is a term which is used for the cells which are lining the cavities inside our body, and their basic role is protection. Okay, their basic role is protection and support, and they line our cavities. Okay, so there are 2 types of cells which are lining the epithelium of the trachea, which are, making the epithelium of the trachea. Okay, so explain how the cells labeled A and B in figure 3.2 protect the gas exchange system. So by the way, we have just done this. Right now, Nawal did this with us. That's exactly what her answer was, but they have asked the same question in a different way. So okay. First of all, can you name cell A and cell B?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so okay, that's fine. Now A, as you can see, does not have cilia, and you know what cilia is, right? They are the hair-like projections sticking out of the cell, right? As you can.
Yeah, I remember. It's the goblet.
Right. A is goblet, right? So there are 2 types of cells making the epithelium of the trachea. One type are the ciliated cells. So their job is just, the cilia are flicking, and they are making sure that they're filtering the dust particles and the pathogens to protect the deeper alveoli from the dust particles. Whereas cell A is a goblet cell, meaning that they are producing secretory vesicles containing mucus. Mucus is that, the sticky liquid within our respiratory passages, and its job is to trap the dust particles. That's why it's sticky, because the dust particles have to get stuck onto them. And then they don't allow those dust particles to move deeper into the lower respiratory tract. And the flicking of the cilia will make sure that the mucus is
Gets
moved,
caught.
yeah, is moved towards the throat. Okay. The job of the cilia is to make sure that the mucus flows towards the throat
The
where it
throat.
is swallowed into the stomach.
Stomach.
Right. And in my last class, by the way, I also showed you an animated video of mucociliary clearance. Mucociliary. So this is called mucociliary clearance. Muco from mucus and ciliary from cilia. So mucus and cilia together work together to make sure that the dust particles do not enter the lungs. So
Okay.
yeah, that's exactly what you have to say here, you know. A is the goblet cell, B is the ciliated cell. That's all. So talk about the mucus trapping the dust particles in A, and talk about the cilia flicking that mucus that has trapped the particles towards the back of the throat where it can be swallowed. Okay. Another point that I would like to add here is that, remember, the direction of the flicking of cilia in the upper respiratory tract will be
Downwards.
yes, will be downwards, and in the lower respiratory tract would
Upwards.
be upwards. Why? Because we want
Because the
mucus
nose
to-
is above the throat and then
Good
in
job.
the thorax is underneath.
Right, right. Good job. Right. Okay. So, okay. So was that it? Did I give you only one question?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And that's fine. You can watch the previous classes and inshallah you'll catch up. Okay. Okay. So Hajra Rizwan is next. Hajra Rizwan is next. Yes. Okay, Hajra. Hajra, you're unmuted. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Okay, I gave you MCQs, right? MCQs. Okay. No, not this. Question. Yeah, this. Yes, Hajra. Question number 8. Can you see the question properly?
Yes.
Yes. Do you want me to read the question?
Yes, you can.
Okay, the diagram shows some of the structures in a human lung. Where is the carbon dioxide concentration highest?
It's the part B from pulmonary artery.
Carbon dioxide concentration highest. Okay, can you explain your answer? Hajra? Hajra, do you want to do this? Okay. Okay, Sundus, do you want to do this? Okay, where is the carbon dioxide concentration highest?
It's B because it's coming from the right ventricle, which is receiving all the deoxygenated blood from the body. So
Very good.
that's why it's deoxygenated. So carbon dioxide concentration would be highest there.
Right. And let's talk about C. C is
bronchial.
C is bronchial. And so what's in C?
Oxygen.
Yeah, this is air. Air. So air has good concentration of oxygen and relatively lower carbon dioxide. A exchange is going on at the level of A, and so we don't expect carbon dioxide to be higher than that in B. Okay, then let's talk about D.
So D is oxygenated because the
Right.
exchange is
Because you know the oxygen, I mean the oxygenation has been done, the carbon dioxide has been removed. So D would have the lowest concentration of carbon dioxide. In fact, if you ask me if I'm not wrong, I think D has the lowest concentration of carbon dioxide in the whole body.
Yeah.
In the whole body, D is that side which will have the lowest concentration of carbon dioxide. Okay. Okay. Then question number 14. Hajra, do you want to do question number 14? Hajra, do you want to do question number 14? Okay, Maruj Manzoor, do you want to do? Okay, I'm unmuting you.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I'm sharing my screen, question number 14.
Why does carbon dioxide move from X to Y?
Okay.
It's just because
No,
air
you tell
has
me the options. Discuss the options with us. Yeah.
air has a lower concentration of carbon dioxide than blood. Carbon dioxide moves more freely in air than in blood. Carbon dioxide must replace oxygen. Diffusion of carbon dioxide can only be out of the blood.
So why does carbon dioxide move from X to Y? So one thing that we know before reading the options is that the movement is called diffusion and it is due to the concentration gradient. This much we know. Now, air has a lower concentration of carbon dioxide than blood. Yes, yes, that's true. Air has a lower concentration of carbon dioxide than blood, and that is responsible for the diffusion of carbon dioxide. But we will keep that and we will check the rest of the options before we mark that correct. Carbon dioxide moves more freely in air than in blood. Might be, but that's not the reason why it moves from the blood to the air, and carbon dioxide must replace oxygen. No, that's not the reason. Diffusion of carbon dioxide can only be out of the blood. That's not correct. So then, Maruj, so what's our final decision? A, right? Yes. Okay, question number 15. The diagram shows some structures in the human neck and thorax. The lining of tube Q has cilia. What is an important function of the cilia? Now this is easy. A, to help in the exchange of gases. B, to increase the internal surface area of tube Q. C, to moisten the air entering and leaving the lungs. D, to move mucus towards the throat. Yes. Yes. Yes, it is D. Yes, Faizan. Yes, Ajwa. Everybody, yes, it's D. Okay. Okay, 15. And then it was question number 6. Yes. What helps oxygen to be absorbed rapidly into the blood in the lungs? Okay, what helps oxygen to be absorbed rapidly into the blood in the lungs? A, air breathed in has less oxygen than air breathed out. B, alveoli have thick walls and a large surface area. C, alveoli have thin walls and a large surface area. D, the concentration of oxygen in the blood is higher than in the alveoli. In the blood is higher than in the alveoli. Alveoli, okay. So out of these 4 options, which one promotes diffusion of oxygen
C.
into the blood? Yes, very good. Yes, it's C. Yes. And I'm sure you guys must have all answered C, 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 C. Yes, good job. Yes. Okay. Now, Sayyid Nabil. Sayyid Nabil. And after Sayyid Nabil, it is Amna and Atika. Okay? Amna and Atika after Sayyid Nabil. Nabil, where are you? Raise your hand. I can't see you. Where are you? Okay, I am Sayyid Nabil. Arham. Okay. 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 Yes, Nabil, I have unmuted you. Yes.
Yes, miss. Yeah.
You want me to share the question?
No, I have the question.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first question, what makes alveoli suitable as a gas exchange surface?
Okay, but I will share for the rest of them. Okay, I will share for the rest of the students so that they know which question we are discussing. Okay, question number 11.
Yes,
Right?
11. Yes.
Yes.
So what makes alveoli suitable as a gas exchange surface? So the alveoli, the answer is A, and because the alveoli are adapted to make gas exchange in lungs, lungs happen easily and efficiently. They give the lungs a really big surface area. They have moist, thin walls, just one cell thick. They have a lot of tiny blood vessels called capillaries.
Yes. So basically, again, the factors of diffusion, remember, the distance, concentration gradient, surface area. These are the three factors we're talking about here. So the total surface area should be greater and well supplied with blood vessels. Make sure there is concentration gradient. So A is the correct answer. Okay. Then question number
23.
Yeah. Please, rest of the participants, kindly mute yourself. Let me mute all and just unmute Arham. Okay, so that there is no disturbance. Yes. Okay. Question number 23, which is this. What are the properties of an efficient gas exchange system, assuming it has a good blood supply?
B, because it will be easier for diffusion to pass through easily.
Right. Now, why not A? Because A says large surface
Thick
and
wall.
thick walls. Thick wall will be a hurdle. Yeah. Okay. C, small surface and thick walls. So surface area is small and the walls
Yes.
are thick. Yeah. And then small surface and thin
Small
walls. So
surface
okay,
problem.
let's move on to question number 27. Yes.
In an experiment, 3 glass bell jars were set up as shown in the diagram. At the end of an experiment, which bell jar has the most oxygen and which has the least?
Right.
So the answer is A, because the least oxygen will be in Q, because it is open in air, and the most
oxygen in Q.
Yes.
Why? No, but keep the R, but keep R also in mind. See, air breathed out by a student for 5 minutes. Yeah.
So answer will be D.
Answer is
D.
Think again. Think again, Nabil. See, least oxygen, right? Now there are 3 jars. Okay, let's talk about them. Let's talk about them one by one. So in jar B has been left in sunlight for 8 hours, right? So now the green plant is photosynthesizing, and in sunlight, the rate of photosynthesis would be more than respiration. So you will have more oxygen, the most oxygen in jar B, P, okay? In Q, yes, oxygen will be higher than carbon dioxide, but oxygen will be least in R. Why? Because it is, you can see a bung at the top. So there is no way air can enter it. And the only air it is receiving is the expired air from the lungs, which has more carbon dioxide as compared to oxygen. And there is no other way oxygen can enter. So yeah, it's B.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, now
B
you
option,
understand?
okay.
Yes, okay, so
Yes.
it's option B. So least oxygen will be in R and most oxygen will be in P. Okay? Okay. Let's do question number 28.
The diagram represents the exchange of gases during breathing and during respiration in the body. What is represented by X and by Y? So
Yes.
A is lungs, air, lungs, body cells, air, body cells, lungs. So my answer is C.
Your answer is B?
Yes.
Yes, B is correct. See, oxygen is entering into X and carbon dioxide is being released by X. And you can also see that from X, oxygen is entering into the blood. and carbon dioxide is entering from the blood into X. So that sounds like lungs. That looks like lungs, right? And that oxygen from the blood is entering into Y. And then from Y, you're getting carbon dioxide being thrown into the blood. So that looks like cells, because cells do that, right? Okay, Amna, are you ready? It's your turn. Yes, Amna.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi, Miss. I need to share my screen.
You want to share your screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I allowed you.
No, Miss, it's not allowing.
Or maybe I have to stop. Okay, I stopped sharing.
Yeah, now I can share.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the first question is that the diagram shows some ciliated cells from the trachea, and what is the function of the part labeled X? Detecting stimuli, exchanging gases, moving mucus, and trapping bacteria. So first of all, in the question they gave us the hint that they're the ciliated cells, so we can know that the structure X is cilia, and for detecting stimuli, that is the job of the nerve cells. Then exchanging gases is for alveoli. Number 3, moving mucus is for cilia, and D for trapping bacteria. It is mucus. Now the difference between C and D, like where most of the students get confused, is C and D, because actually cilia are only here. They can't trap the mucus. They can only move. So the answer should be cilia, not mucus.
Very good, Amna. I love the way you have explained. Yes, I want everybody to explain like this, so that everything is clear, and even discuss the wrong option. So yeah, Amna correctly mentioned that cilia do not stick. I mean, they're not sticky without the mucus. It is the mucus which is sticky. Cilia, because of their hair-like structure, they're only filtering. Okay, okay. Did you
Okay.
have only one question?
No, I have the next question.
Okay.
So they asked that some cells line the bronchus. So explain how these cells keep the bronchus free of the dust. So mainly there are two types of cells in the respiratory tracts, and how they asked how they help. So the ciliated cells, they help by keeping the mucus moving, as when they move, they also make the mucus move with them. So the respiratory tract is not blocked by the mucus, and it is then swallowed the stomach. And the second type of cells are the goblet cells. They produce the mucus respiratory tract from inside, which makes the diffusion easy for oxygen. And the mucus also traps dust,
Right.
germs, bacteria, etc. And I have one more point, that is why they test the COVID-19 from the nose, because the mucus, the COVID-19 virus is stuck in the nose to the mucus, and that's why they have to test from there.
Right, right. So the test kit, they take a swab from the nose or the throat. That's because the mucus has trapped it. Very good, Amna. I like your correlation, with the practical life. Okay, Atika. Atika. Okay, I'm unmuting you. Do you also want to share?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
I got the first question is that gas exchange in annelid worms occurs through the whole of the skin surface. What are the most likely characteristics of the skin surface? They gave us 4 options: large surface area to volume ratio, conditions of the surface should be dry, large surface area wet condition, small surface area dry condition, and small surface area wet condition.
Right.
Surface area to volume ratio, it has to be large enough for the gas exchange to take place easily and in a short span of time. And the condition of the surface must be moist surface because it is necessary for oxygen to be absorbed and carbon dioxide to be given off. So
Very
the
good.
warm skin is protected by a thin cuticle and kept moist by a slimy mucus. So the
Right.
answer will be B, large surface area to volume ratio and wet condition of surface.
Right. Right. And here, Atika, I would also like to mention, can you see the similarity in our lungs, in alveoli? The oxygen dissolves in that thin film of moisture before entering into the cells. In the same way, oxygen in case of these worms also dissolves in that thin film of moisture that they have on their skin, right, before the gases can enter into their bodies, right? So it's important for the gases to dissolve, right? Okay, move on to the next question.
Which route is taken by air passing into the lungs of a human? Route taken by air to reach the lungs is from nose or mouth to pharynx, then epiglottis, then larynx, then trachea, then bronchus, then it goes to bronchioles, and then to alveolus, where the gas exchange takes place.
Right.
So the answer that we get is D, trachea, bronchus, then alveoli.
Very good. Very good. I like it. Okay.
What are the features of gaseous exchange surfaces in animals?
Right.
Thin surface area is needed for an oxygen molecule to diffuse across the small thickness to reach the blood, and a moist surface needed for oxygen to be absorbed and the carbon dioxide to be given off, and a large area needed for more gas exchange to take place in lesser time.
Right.
So the answer that we get is D.
Right. So thin-walled and wet and moist. Right. Okay. Question. This is the last question. Okay. Which features are present in gaseous exchange surfaces?
Large surface area,
Right.
moist surface, and
Right. And
large
thin.
area, moist surface, and thin surface area.
Right.
Thin walls. So
Yeah.
the answer that we get is A,
Right.
because
Large,
large surface area,
moist,
moist, and
and
thin walls.
large surface area, moist and thin. And oh, thick should be crossed. Right. So large
Yes.
surface area, moist, and then thick should be crossed. So A. Right. Good job. You guys have prepared so well. It's such a short time. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. Jazakallah khairan, Amna, Atika, Nabil, Hajra, Rizwan, Turan Durani, Ruman Ahmad, Nawal Ahmad, Huda, Faisal, and Sundus Bukhari. Jazakallahu khairan. Okay, with this, I will end this meeting. Okay, then see you on Sunday. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.